to refuse the obligations of international leadership and our duty to remain the last best hope of Earth for the sake of some half-baked, spurious nationalism cooked up by people who would rather find scapegoats than solve problems.
We're back with Senator John McCain. That was last Monday night when you were honored with the Liberty Medal by the National Constitution Center.
And by the way, my friend Joe Biden was a great and wonderful man.
Yes. He is.
Yeah.
He is. Yeah. Now, I noticed that you and I have a similar habit. You don't say you know whose name. I don't say it either. But it was clear that you were talking about you know who.
And but you know why.
Yeah. Yes. But you were talking about people, criticizing people from the highest income level who found doctors to claim that they had bone spurs so they could avoid the draft. And I know that's not something you think highly of.
That's true. It was a program for C-SPAN over 50 years since I was shot down, okay? So I was talking about the entire Vietnam conflict and what a tragedy it is. And by the way, next time you're trying to do the Lord's work in the city of Satan, go over to the Vietnam War Memorial.
Yep.
It's a moving experience.
Yep.
So what I was trying to say is one of the great inequities of the Vietnam conflict was the lowest income Americans went and fought and were drafted. And those who were wealthy enough to have a doctor to say, hey, you got a bone spur or you got migraines or whatever it is, then they were excused. I think that when we ask the lowest income portion of our public to do our fighting and dying for us, that's disgraceful. Nothing makes me more angry than that. And so that's why the Vietnam Memorial also has special meaning, by the way. So I was talking about it in the context of the 50 years.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, I didn't like the way the war was conducted. I didn't like McNamara. I didn't. Yeah. But I always praise those who served. And it still makes me mad when I think that if we are all asked to serve, wonderful.
Yeah.
But if some of us are allowed not to because of our income or our position or our influence, then that is a disgrace.
You're talking about the draft, when it's a draft. When there's a draft, which they had in Vietnam.
People thought you were talking.
We had the draft, and someone's name would come up, and if they were wealthy, many times, they would go to a doctor, and the doctor would say, okay, you've got migraines.
Yeah.
So that would go to the draft board, and they would be excused.
Right.
What about the farm? What about the inner city person? What about all of those who didn't have a doctor to go to or somebody of influence to get them?
They thought they were expendable.
Well,
yes.
People thought you were talking about Mr. Trump because he had a doctor's note that said he had bone spurs.
I think more than once, yes.
More than once. Chronic bone spurs. Do you consider him a draft dodger?
I don't consider him so much a draft dodger as I feel that the system was so wrong that certain Americans could evade their responsibilities to serve the country. We should have we finally did, as you know, we went to the all-volunteer force. And that's fine. Someone wants to serve, they should be able to. And by the way, that is now down to about 1 or 2% of the American public.
But isn't it kind of galling when he says that, when he casts aspersions upon your service, when he got out because of bone spurs? Doesn't that ticks me off and a lot of people in this country?
Joy, I think the important thing is for us to help those veterans who need help. I have a wonderful life. I'm the luckiest person you will ever see on this show. So what I cared about was when he was talking about other prisoners of war, including our World War II guys who are still around, many of them. And there's a individual lives in Phoenix, and he's 92. And he weighed 110 pounds when he got out of the German prison camp. Wow. And he said to me, he said, Senator McCain, why does the president not like me? You know, that's hard to explain to a 92-year-old man. So that's what they want to say about me. You know, Teddy Roosevelt, I'm in the arena. I'm in the arena. I love the fight.
Right. Also, so you know, because he warned you the next day. Yeah. You did hear that. He said, oh, you need to be careful.
Yeah, because he might not be nice.
He might not be nice.
Pretty. He said, it won't be pretty.
He said he would fight back.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be pretty. Are you scared?
Doesn't he look scared?
Thank you, Did you read my card, girl?
I mentioned that I had faced greater challenges.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But the point is, I think, is that we've got to, and I hate to keep going back to the big picture, we've got to lift the national dialogue. Let's stop insulting each other.
Right, yeah.
Let's start respecting each other's views. You know, Whoopi and I were talking earlier. You know who I love to fight with the most of anybody in the Senate? Edward Kennedy. He and I had the best fights I've ever had.
Wow.
But we were the best of friends.
Yeah. Those are the good old days in politics.
I used to play in his office with his dogs.
These Portuguese water dogs, you know.
Oh, gorgeous dogs.
That he would bring around with him all the time. And so I think the point is that we need to have a kinder, more respectful, but vigorous debate and discussion, but based on what we want the country to do, not whether somebody's a jerk or not.
Right.
You know, so go ahead.
I was just going to say, do you talk to him regularly? Like, we hear things in the news about the back and forth. Do you guys talk on the phone? Do you chat with him? What's your relationship like with the president?
Almost none.
Yeah.
Zero.
Okay.
Wow. Terrible.
Almost none.
Can I ask you a really dopey question? I mean,
anything.
Dopier than Sonny's?
Oh, could be. I just wonder, when we talk about health care, is there a way to make it work for everybody? Does it have to be one or the other? Is it possible to take what exists and work it through?
We've got a system. You heard about when I came back. I said, look, we've got a system. We've got committees, we've got hearings, we've got witnesses, we've got an administration. Let's go through that, and we can come up with a result. And that's what I think we are on the way to do now.
I'm so glad.
I hope and pray. So, Whoopi, my answer is, let's go back to a system as our founding fathers designed it, where we have this open and honest debate, where we have input from the smartest people in America. This is a system we have to go back to, instead of, when I came back, they were going to do a, quote, skinny repeal. Anyone here who knows what a skinny repeal is, please raise your hand. I'd like to. It was crazy.
I thought it just meant a lot of thin people coming out. We will be right back. More